today, Moroccan potatoes. We've done this on another video, but just in case you haven't seen all of them, easiest way to get a pepper without losing any of it is take the top off, take the bottom off. That bit will then come round like that, and you take the whole central core out and all the little white bits of the membrane all come out in one go, and you just end up with a beautiful bit of pepper flesh. Now for this one, I'm going to cut into slivers rather than into chunks and cubes. And we've got that. And then I've got the same with the yellow pepper. This is a really good recipe if you've got half a pepper left, because you don't have to use a red, a yellow and a green. So you can use it up if you've made a small portion of chilli and you've got half a green pepper left, or you've done some roasted veg or the feta and pomegranate salad. Because the thing is, it's very easy just to have a recipe that uses half of an ingredient. The trick is then finding something else that uses the other half, otherwise it ends up in the bin. So we've got red, yellow, green pepper. I've got an onion here. It'd probably be sort of one small onion or half a medium onion. These are kind of mutant onions. They're about this big. So I'm going to use a quarter of one. And again, I'm just going to cut it into long pieces like that, so the same shape as the pepper. Then we've got some chopped garlic, which will go in with them as well. And then we've got some ginger. You want a piece of ginger about the size of your little finger for 500 grams of new potatoes. And the easiest way to peel ginger is to use a teaspoon. And if you just do that, all the skin comes off beautifully. And then we're going to blitz that. And if I was doing garlic, I'd blitz the garlic as well, but I've already done that ahead of time. So I've got, that's about the equivalent of a little finger. So this is going on that side. Done with that. So the potatoes I've just cut up. Now, you've got different size potatoes there. Ideally, when they end up on there, they all want to be about the same size. So I'm going to cut that one in half. I'm going to cut that one into 4. And I'm going to cut that one into 3. You don't want to leave any hole because it's the cut side that picks up all the flavour and the spices and the seasoning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the red, yellow and green, or whatever colours you've got. Onion, you can use red onion, you can use slots. It's a really good way of using up bits and pieces. Then I've got 3 different spices plus chilli flakes. Again, if you don't like spice, leave out the chilli flakes. The others will give it flavour but no heat. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few of those on. And then I've got fennel, coriander. No, I haven't. I've got fennel, coriander and cumin. It's a bit like one of those things where you move them around and say which one was it under. And I'm going to put, fennel is really strong, so be careful with that. It's quite aniseedy as well, which isn't to everybody's taste. If you really don't like the flavour of aniseed or licorice, leave it out. It doesn't matter. So I'll use 1 teaspoon of that because I like it, 2 teaspoons of cumin and 2 teaspoons of coriander. This whole recipe is based on a samosa recipe that I had. And then I went to a Moroccan restaurant and they did these lovely potatoes that tasted just like my samosa filling. So I tweaked it slightly. Don't use powder though. I'm going to blitz these. You can do it in a pestle and mortar, or you can do it in a bag with a rolling pin, but that's really hard work. And all we're going to do there is blitz them. If you use a powder, it will just kind of coat the potatoes and go claggy. And we actually want a texture that's going to end up like that. So I'm just going to blitz those. And what I'll end up with is this. And you can see it's kind of quite grainy. So when I sprinkle that on the potatoes, it's not going to coat them like powder. I've then got my garlic. I put my ginger in there, and then I'll put my oil in there because the ginger will blitz better rather than putting the oil on the potatoes. Pop that in there. And you'll notice nearly all the recipes that I use, I just use this stick blender and a little, you can use it for almost anything. Easy to wash up. And if you've got a small kitchen, it doesn't take up much space. So there we've got ginger. Watch your fingers, take the blade out before you put your fingers in there. And this is the messy bit. But whenever you're dressing a salad or putting anything ready to go in the oven, unless it's already hot and it's been in the oven, I always get in there with my hands, because then that way you can ensure that all the potatoes are evenly coated, that everything's mixed up, everything's got a mixture of that. And then I'm just going to give a really good sprinkling of salt. It'll bring out all the spices, and potatoes do like salt. And most chefs, we like salt too. So that's going to go in the oven, quite a hot oven, for about 35-40 minutes. But just keep an eye on it, and I give it a turn around with a spatula halfway through. So that's going to go in there. And that's what you've got when you've done those. They'll all have gone nice and caramelly and beautiful. And all we're going to do with that is we're going to chop some coriander and squeeze a little bit of lemon and check the salt. And as I always say with fresh herbs, if you haven't got fresh herbs, forget it. Do not put dried coriander or something else on here instead. If you don't like coriander, again, it's a bit of a personal preference. You could use chopped parsley. Makes it look pretty, but the coriander will give it that authentic kind of Middle Eastern flavour. That on there, and then a squeeze of lemon and just through my fingers, and you can see that way I catch any seeds that would otherwise go into your dish. And then we're just going to give that a poke around. And then just pop that onto there. And I would mix the coriander in before serving it up. Otherwise, if you just sprinkle it on the top, it doesn't actually meld all the flavours together. So it's much nicer if it's done as kind of part of the recipe rather than just as chefy sprinkles. There we go. So that is spiced Moroccan potatoes with peppers, onions, lemon and coriander.